What up YouTube, Jay from DM Gaming, just hitting you up with the first unboxing on the channel. Got these the other day. I've used them already, so I've got obviously a rough idea what they're like and a few bits and pieces, but this is the first unboxing on the channel, and right, I'll show you what it is. There you go, Astro A50 Battlefield 4 edition, wireless. Picked them up from Game for $2.50 in the UK. Was going to order them off Astro themselves, but I thought while I'm going down to Game, I'll obviously have a quick look, and there they was. So they managed to have them in stock, but I know you can get them from Argos. Amazon's a bit sketchy at the moment, and I heard HMV did them, but I had a look in HMV and they didn't have any at all or anything like that, because I believe they're owned by, Astro's actually owned by Skull Candy now. And obviously HMV do Skull Candy and a few other bits and pieces. That's why I thought I'll obviously pop into HMV and see obviously if they had any. But no, but lucky I was picking up Assassin's Creed from Game, and walked into the store. Lo and behold, what they have on the shelf: Astro A50s. They actually had a good selection, really. They had the A40s mixed amp edition, and they had the A30s. Both kits, and they had the regular black A50s, and they had on the back, behind the counter, they had these, the Battlefield 4 edition. So I thought, yeah, why not? I might as well plump for the Battlefield 4 edition and go from there. I believe the only difference between these and the regular black A50s is obviously they've got the Battlefield 4 preset from DICE, and they've also got obviously the orange instead of the red, as far as I know. But apart from that, mechanically, physically, they're basically the same, obviously just due to obviously a few bit rough little colour differences and the bits and pieces. But yeah, I'll stop waffling on and we'll get the box open, and I'll show you what's inside. One thing I do like about Astros is obviously the boxes. You get this lovely little cover sleeve, obviously with the A50s, nice bits and pieces. Let's get out of the way for a second. And you get, obviously with the Battlefield edition, you get obviously the Battlefield bookcase. This will look pretty good on anyone's shelf or something like that. Obviously if you've got like steelbook editions and bits and pieces, and you get a Battlefield 4 logo and things like that. People that have played Battlefield 4 will know this logo well, and know this obviously scene well. Let me fire away and get into the good stuff. There you go. That's what it looks like when it comes in the box. Nice presentation box, mix amp in the middle, obviously headset around it. Let's get the headset out because that's obviously what everyone wants to see basically. There's your headset. There's the orange, obviously denoting the Battlefield, and obviously the orange wires, and obviously, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, see the Astro Battlefield edition. While I'm looking at the ear cup, this side, I don't know if you can pick it up on the actual fin bob, you've got a little rocker switch, which is game on this side, and obviously voice chat on the other. So obviously you can drown out the dickheads on Call of Duty, or obviously you can increase it if you're playing obviously in a squad and things like that, or obviously if you want game volume you can whack it up a bit. The good part about the Astro A50s is the mic is auto cancelling when you push it down. So when it's down in this position like this, obviously when you're going to talk, it's active, and then when you flip it up, it's cancelled. You can feel it actually clip back, and that's when it's cancelled. So that's a pretty good nifty feature. The only thing obviously between the A40s and the A50s is obviously the A40s have got removable cups, and you can actually pop the microphone off and obviously change sides with the actual mic. But obviously I play a lot downstairs in the living room and things like that, and obviously with the Xbox One at the moment, you can't actually have it wireless, like totally wireless. You physically need a wire to obviously go from the actual bottom of the port to the actual controller, so obviously you can chat, party chat, things like that. But obviously PS4 is totally wireless. You just plug your USB in the front of the PS4, and obviously your optical cable goes in the back, but I'll show you a bit of that obviously when I get the actual mix amp out. But a few buttons, obviously everything mix amp wise and bits and pieces is actually on the headset with the A50s. The A40s obviously has its own standalone mixer, obviously with volume control and obviously gain volume and bits and pieces and a few buttons. The A50s is obviously the only thing you get on the mix amp, which I'll show in a second, is a power on and a Dolby Digital. All the buttons for the headset and obviously bits and pieces presets is actually on the actual headset. Right, first button from the top is the power button. When it turns on, it will go red, and that will tell you obviously you're live. And when it turns itself off, it's got a nice little tone. Don't know if you can hear it. There we go. Right, when you're charging it, it goes amber. And when you're pairing it, you press and hold the button, it flashes white. Likewise with the mix amp, you press and hold the power button for a couple of seconds, it flashes white. That pairs it, all good to go. Don't need to do anything like that. Right, the next one down is the preset button. Right to the top is like a normal, nothing, maybe just, I don't think it's got any treble on it, any bass increase or anything like that. Right, second preset is more your music and your movies and obviously Dolby 5.1 and bits and pieces like that. These, where they're a closed back design, they are quite bassy. They're not very what do you call it? Sorry, the camera nearly fell over then. Told you this was my first unboxing. Yeah, they're quite bassy, obviously where they're a closed back design. They're obviously different from your Sennheiser and things like that, like the 3630D, 363D and things like that, which are obviously an open back design, which are more obviously true to treble and obviously a better sounding headset. But at the end of the day, it's a headset. You're not going to be listening to orchestra music and bits and pieces. You're just going to be using it for gaming. So more the bass is an important part, obviously, a gaming headset and things like that, especially for Battlefield, Call of Duty and bits and pieces like that. But yeah, right, let's crack on to the other buttons. Alright, right at the bottom, you've got your main rocker switch, which is obviously your volume up, volume down. Other side, you have your, like I said, your cable, which goes obviously to your controller if you've got an Xbox One and things like that, so obviously you can chat. And bottom there is obviously where it's wireless, it's got a battery, and you just obviously whack your micro USB in there, whack it to your mix amp, and then it charges. Right, that's enough for the headset. I'll show you the adjustability actually. Really good adjustability. You can basically just ink it out, so obviously you can get a decent feel and a decent fit, so it's not sitting in your ears or it's not too tight in your head and things like that. So to be quite honest, if you find these are uncomfortable, 90% of the really good headsets are going to be uncomfortable for you. These, I've worn them for like 4 or 5 hours, things like that, and the comfort is ridiculous. You don't feel like they're on your head once you've got them adjusted properly. And obviously, like every other headset, it's got rotatable cups and bits and pieces. Right, let's put that down for a second, and we will get the mix amp. Mix amp, wireless, like I said, no frills to be quite honest. Nothing like the A40s, obviously, where the big buttons on it, and obviously control your volume. But you've got one button, obviously turns it on. That's the Dolby Digital button. Which obviously gives you the Dolby Digital 5.1 or 7.1 sound if you're running it through a PC. Onto the back you have USB, which is obviously what you plug your USB cable to obviously charge the actual headset. Optical in, optical out, so obviously it's got a pass through, so obviously you can just pass it through. You can go from your obviously PS4 if you're downstairs to your obviously from your PS4 into here, out of there into your massive what you got, AV tuner or something like that. But I can't see why you want to do that unless you want to piss your mist off, but there you go. And obviously your USB power and your auxiliary input as well, so obviously you can actually plug an MP3 player or something like that, so obviously you can pipe that through if you don't want the annoying little kids on Call of Duty obviously chapping on your ear hole. Then obviously you can listen to a bit of music as well. But yeah, that's it. Obviously relatively light. It's only plastic, I must admit. The Mix Amp Pro feels a lot better. Obviously it's a lot rugged, and obviously it's got the rubberized finish and things like that, but at the end of the day you just basically plug this in, forgive and forget it, because it's all wireless. You ain't got to worry about it. That's one of the main things I bought it for, because obviously where I play downstairs and things like that, I don't want loads of wires trailing across, because I've got a 80-month-old boy that loves to pull the shit out of any wires or anything like that. So obviously that's just a recipe of disaster. So this fitted the bill, even though it's only it's 250 quid, which is quite dear just for a bloody headset. But to be quite honest, it fitted all the boxes and all that, ticked all the boxes. And I found that all the reviews were perfectly okay on it, and I thought, yeah, they're there, I might as well buy it. What I was going to do originally was buy the Sennheisers and obviously buy a mix amp, but I see the A50s, I thought, well, I might as well just get them if I can physically obviously buy them. The reviews that I've seen have been pretty good, so yeah, that's it. Right, we go into the rest of the box. This slides out. You get obviously what to do, quick start guide, which is obviously update your firmwares, because obviously the firmware is updatable. When I first got it, I updated it so it would obviously work with the PS4, so I could obviously chat wirelessly. I don't have to mess about with it, and the PS4 obviously recognised it. There's a few settings you've got to do to obviously get the PS4 to actually recognise it, but I can put a brief link in the description to a video on YouTube, obviously how to do that, but it's really easy. It's proper easy. That's your how to register them and bits and pieces and where to get your firmware from. Another one is obviously your proper quick start guide, just about obviously your headphones, ports, what it does, how to pair it, how to connect it to an Xbox 360, PS3 and to your PC as well, which I use it for PC and PS4, which obviously PS4 is exactly the same as the actual PS3. You do actually get a little stand, which I'll grab that in a second and show you. But yeah, that's a quick start guide. Let's get rid of some of this for a minute. Let's just leave the headset out and the mixer. Right, this is the little stand that you get with it. The mix amp, if you're obviously downstairs or something like that, what I do is it just sits in the bottom there, and obviously it just holds it and looks nice and neat. When you're charging it, obviously when you're finished gaming for the night, whack them on the top, and obviously whack your USB cable in the bottom to obviously charge it. That's it basically. That's your little stand. The stand is Astro branded. Just clips together. It's got a nice little pad at the bottom to stop it sliding, which is a nice little feature. Right, down to the wires that you get in the actual kit. Quick second, I'm just going to grab the wires. Right, wires you get is a standard digital optical, which obviously connects to your PS3 and obviously your Xbox One. If you've got a motherboard with obviously optical out, which I have myself, I've got a X79 Sabertooth, and obviously it's got an optical out. That's what I do with a PC. And obviously to power it, you've got a slightly longer, I think it's a meter, standard USB cable, micro USB. The meter one goes obviously to your back of your PC, your Xbox, your PS4 to power the actual mix amp unit. And then you've got a slightly thicker, which is a shorter, but I think it's a 0.5 meter, something like that. Standard micro USB cable, which obviously plugs in the bottom of the mix amp, the headphones, and then obviously plugs in the back of the mix amp wireless unit, and then obviously plugs into the bottom of the headset to actually charge them, which I'll show you. That goes down there like that. So you're finished for the night. It goes there like that. Like that. Charging, nice and neat. All done. Pretty quality. Yeah. Don't know what else to say about it basically. Another one of the things that I liked about the headset, which are other ones, which I looked at the Sound Blaster Recon 3D, which my mate's got, which he likes, which are really good. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but these have got like a cloth material on the ear cups, which some people obviously will prefer, because to be honest, when I'm playing and I've got about 2 or 3 monitors and a PS4 going and a bloody PC when I'm recording, it does get quite hot in the room, so obviously you do sweat a bit. So obviously if you've got like the faux leather cups, the ones I had before on an old headset used to have the faux leather, and I used to sweat and it was bloody horrible. It was really horrible. After about an hour you was sweating and bits and pieces, and it made you really uncomfortable. But these are obviously cloth, so obviously they let a bit air out, and obviously they breathe a bit better, and you're not prone to obviously sweating your arse off, which is a little bit better, so, which obviously could make you your purchase obviously a little bit, it might make your mind up obviously purchasing the Astros other than something else. But yeah, that's just obviously a personal preference basically, but I thought obviously I'll put it in. But yeah, as for the headset, great build quality, obviously metal there, and obviously still plastic, obviously it's still all plastic, but you've got obviously metal runners and bits and pieces. Mic is obviously fully movable and bits and pieces, and it's got a metal cap on the end, obviously where your the speaker holes are. Little Astro logo at the top there, which moves up, down, left, right to obviously fit the size of your head and bits and pieces. But yeah, great headset. Used it for about 3 or 4 days now. First time I used it on Battlefield, it was got up quite high, and I thought a tank was coming through the bloody wall. But yeah, it gives you a lot more immersion into the games and things like that. Like I said, I've used a headset for a little while, but it was only an old Triton one, so obviously it didn't have the Dolby Digital 5.1 and the 7.1 for the PC and bits and pieces. So yeah, it is great. Value for money, I don't really know, to be quite honest. Obviously it's only quite new. See how it weathers. To be quite honest, I'm a bad consumer. I do really use my gear, if you know what I mean. I'm not one of those people that put it away nicely at the night and things like that. I buy gear to be used, so I actually use it. So obviously what I do is I do an update video maybe in a couple of months or something like that, obviously to let you know how I'm getting on with them and see how they're wearing, and then go from there basically. But yeah, 250 quid, probably a little bit expensive to me for a gaming headset, but I had the spare money. I was going to buy a headset, and by the time I added up the Sennheisers and a mix amp as well, then I'm probably looking at that sort of money. But obviously they're wired, so yeah, these fitted the bill for me perfectly okay. But yeah, I don't know what else I can say about them. Obviously if you've got any comments or anything like that, obviously hit me up in the comments box. If you like the video, obviously subscribe. Got a few more unboxings coming along the way. Like I said, I've got some control freaks coming and other bits and pieces. So yeah, thanks for watching YouTube. Any comments in the comments box, and obviously like and subscribe. It helps a hell of a lot. And if you want, obviously have a look at my other gaming videos. Thanks a lot, YouTube. See you later. Jay out.